So we have a business here that's got 3 technicians. They've got about $120 an hour as an effective labor rate. In other words, when someone buys labor from them, on average, they pay $120. And their parts to labor ratio, they sell about 55% of what they sell is labor, and about 45% is parts. And so with that math, we know that with 3 techs, if they were 100% productive, 8 hours a day, we could do $1.2 million to 4. So if we follow a parts matrix religiously, and we're not going to get deep into a parts matrix, but if you need one or want one, you can access it through us. And one of the cool things about AutoLeap is you can set that matrix up in AutoLeap, and then it's going to automatically use that. So you don't have to be emotional about the parts price. It's just the price that it needs to be based on the formula. So if you follow a parts matrix, then your cost of sales is going to be about 18%. So if you do $1 million in business, we'll round it down. But if you do $1 million, you're going to spend about $180,000 a year on parts. And that's going to give you a margin of about 58%. So you're going to end up with 58 cents on every dollar from your parts after you pay for the parts. Okay. And then your labor cost is a loaded cost. That includes FICA and FUTA and workers' comp and paid vacations, holidays, sick days, meals, education, whatever you do for your tax. And that should be about 20% of your sales. So again, if we go back to $1 million in sales, I have $200,000 to pay technicians. So I don't necessarily want to have 4 techs doing $1 million, because now I have 4 techs making 50,000 or less, because they're not going to keep all 50. The IRS and the state are going to take some of that. This is if I'm going to do $1 million in business, if I have 200,000, 3 techs are now making whatever that is, 67,000. Or if I have 2 techs, they're making 100,000. I'd rather run a really efficient business and have 2 techs making 100,000 there. And it is possible, because I've done it myself, and a lot of our shops do that, which is going to give me a 64% margin. And so my cost of producing an hour of parts and labor is 38%, and my gross profit is 62%. So after I pay for my parts and I pay for my labor, I still have 62 cents out of every dollar left over. And now I'm going to pay my fixed expenses. And if you work with a coach or a consultant, they're going to break this up into multiple categories. But for today's purposes, we're going to do 3. I'm going to pay my sales costs, my service advisor, whoever's selling the work, 8 to 10%. I'm going to pay my marketing. I need to have marketing today. I need to have a marketing plan. I need to have a website, a search engine optimization, etc. And I'm going to pay 6 to 9% of my sales to that. And then the rest, about 25%, is going to go to my fixed expenses, which includes my salary, which is going to leave me about 20% in the pile. So again, if I do $1.2 million for now, at the end of the day, I get about $248,000 left over after I paid all the bills. I haven't paid taxes yet, but I've paid everything else. Okay. And so the reason I do this particular slide set and go through this is to get you to the next slide. This is a very balanced, perfectly balanced business. And frankly, we don't often see this. Even after working with clients, parts expense might be 19% or 20%, and labor expense might be 60, margins might be 68, because labor expense might be 18%. So, your business, as long as you're really close and you still have that 20% net, we're in great shape. Even if you end up with, say, 18% net, you're still in great shape. We just don't want to be like the whole industry, which is about 3 to 4%. So now I'm going to show you where it goes wrong. And this is an unbalanced business. This is the same business, basically, but we have an extra technician. And so because we have an extra technician, we also have an extra service advisor. And we probably have, our process is probably not as good. We probably have a lower average repair order. So this is a business that does not follow a parts matrix. And so they're emotional. They talking to a guy last night. He had lug nuts. He said, well, I can't mark lug nuts up to that. And I said, well, how many people have ever questioned about what lug nuts cost? And after talking to him for a while, he was like, Cecil, that's right. In my whole life, talking to, I don't know, thousands of shop owners and service advisors, I've never had somebody go, I can't mark up lug nuts. I don't know. It's like, boom. But we all have these different little things that we do where we go, wow, that's really expensive. And so I like the idea that I have a piece of software that I can put the matrix in. I can tell my employees, look, follow the matrix. And I don't have to be emotional about it. I don't want them to be emotional about it. The grocery store, I just bought eggs night before last, about a dozen eggs. It was over $8. And I guarantee you, nobody in the grocery store was emotional about charging me $8 for eggs because the cost of eggs has gone up and they have to make their profit. And we need to be better at that. So if my margin is lower, then I didn't charge quite as much. And so my cost goes up as a percentage of that sale. So now I have 26% parts cost. And, my labor is not efficient. In other words, now I have technicians who are not doing 8 hours a day because we don't have the systems, the processes to help them be efficient, or even pricing, frankly, sometimes. And so my technician margin is down because my cost is up because they're not productive. Not necessarily I'm not charging the right price or anything. They're just only producing 6 hours a day instead of 8, but I'm paying them for 8. So my cost goes up as a percentage, and now I have a cost of goods of 51%. I've lost 13% of my profit already. And so as we go, I have a 49% gross profit instead of 62%. So there's 13 cents less on every dollar left to pay the rest of the bills. My sales cost has gone up as a percentage because when I have 3 guys, I can have maybe 1 service advisor, but when I have 4, I got to have some kind of an assistant or help there where they won't be efficient, right? So I hired another person and my cost went up as a percentage of my sales. Sales did not change. My marketing expense goes down here, but only because I don't have the money or the profit to spend on marketing. So now I'm not bringing in the better customer. I'm bringing in the bottom feeder because I'm not marketing. I'm not building my market share. And then my fixed expenses have gone up because, like it or not, whenever I hire somebody, I got to get another computer. I need another parking space. We need more, another phone, et cetera, et cetera. And now my net profit is 3%. What I really want you to take away from this is if you get it right on the right side here, and you do everything correctly within a point or two, then you're going to make money at the end of the day. If you don't on the left side here, then you're going to struggle.